Coonamble Shire was once the biggest employer in Coonamble, and I'd really like to see some type of a program where we can get the youth back into training and apprenticeships with the Shire. And I'm wondering about the possibility as well of training up local tradespeople like your plumbers and your electricians, and so that we don't have to be having contractors in when jobs need doing. And I wondered what the councillors feel about starting up a program, something like that.
That's a good point, Sandra. Now, I have mentioned in meetings that why aren't we getting people from school or traineeships put in place at the council? We haven't got as many traineeships or apprenticeships running at the moment, and as I said, council is the place to be. If you've got a job at the council, you're set for life. But at this point in time, it doesn't seem to be running that way. But hopefully, if you elect me, I'll try and push for that to happen again.
Thanks, Karen. Yeah, exactly right. When I left council in 2012, I think there was 110 employees. Last count, last week, there was 86. Yet their wages went up by $700,000. And that never went to the pockets of the people on the ground, I can assure you. They got a 3% increase, and the salary increase was 12%. So, you asked the question there. So we're going backwards. Last year there was 87, this year there was 86 employees. We're not going in the right direction. We should be the biggest employer in town. When I was on council, I kicked off the youth council. I'm all for the youth. I kept talking about the future for my kids in this town. I kicked off the youth council. I don't think that's been happening. It should be driven. We need to get back to apprenticeships and traineeships. I don't remember the last time I seen one for council. We should be training our people, our young people in our community, because we're losing so many staff, as I've just given by the figures, and particularly in the last 3 or 4 months, we've lost a lot of staff. We should be training our young people to understand the plumbing issues, know where the taps are, the electrical issues. Our people are retiring. We've heard Eccles say he's been on there since 1971. We're not passing on that knowledge. We're not respecting our staff. I wrote a letter a couple of weeks ago that we don't respect our staff anymore. We treat them as numbers. Let's build their skills, keep them in town, and to do that we need to spend more money locally. Create the jobs, keep the money local, don't send it out of town. Every cent we spend in town goes around 7 times. If you pay someone that works for you, they go and buy a loaf of bread or a bottle of milk or some meat. They then employ people, so it's a big rotation. If we spend 1 cent out of town, that's gone, and we'll never see it again. We're spending money. The public toilets come from New Zealand. That was a grant that we talked about.
We're getting a little bit off topic. So it was just about the jobs of the council.
Yeah, I'm talking about jobs. How do we create jobs if we don't spend local?
On the council, though, mate. So we have the question.
The point is if we don't spend locally, we're not creating jobs, and we've got no future for our young.
I just wanted to say they still do offer and still do have people from schools doing certain traineeships. And just on a personal notice that over the years that I've been here, I even know with our business in town of Moody's Motors, that we've taken people on there as traineeships, and they're out there. People aren't, for some reason, and maybe it's something we can look into, staying in town. They'll do their apprenticeship, but you put all of that effort into that person and they're off into the mines or they're off into the big wide world, and they do sometimes come back to town, but I don't think it's necessarily anything that we're personally doing that's pushing them away. It's the fact that they are getting the traineeships and the time is given by small businesses, but they're not staying. So we need to address maybe why that's happening.
Over my experiences with the traineeships with the Shire, we've had a fair few boys go through the parks and gardens. But I suppose the biggest thing about that is having a job after. That I've found that we've had over the last 4 years, we've had 3 boys go through the parks and gardens, and there's nothing after that. And mind you that there's been traineeships through that they've pulled out as well. So there is traineeships there, which they can go through, and the big ticket item for our boys is the Parks and Gardens, but they normally only put one on. And over the last 2 years with COVID and the school's policies and procedures around that, it hasn't really kicked off. But I know there's scope there that we've utilised through Clontarf and the high school.
Yes, well, Adam sort of summed up that half, that there is traineeships and things sort of happening there. And I just wanted to say, when I first got in there, I know the general manager had a big emphasis on keeping staff, looking after staff and helping staff train, because we realise that if somebody lives and works in the town and they like their job, well, if you can keep them and you can help them train up, that's a good thing. So I think the Shire would love to employ more people. I know they've had ads in the paper for different people and different jobs, and finding it quite hard to fill. So I think we try very hard, and as part with the getting the plumbers, electricians and business people taking up contracts, I know that the staff have tried to help them, because when you're using public money, you've got to, people have got to apply to do a job, and they've got to put in a quote, and I know the staff have tried to bring them along, and they were having a workshop to be able to let local people know how to apply to get a job, to apply for a contract, a tender, I should say. So I think there is help there, but yes, it could be maybe that's something, more workshops, and I think that was what we intended, but I think with COVID you find that a lot of that stuff was put off the back burner because it wouldn't be allowed to do it. So, and bringing other people in to help train people so that they know how to fill out the tenders, what's involved, and yeah, how to tick, because you can't just give public money just because they've got the lowest price. They have to, there's like 10 points on some things that they have to have this or have that license or have that insurance or have other people say that they've done jobs for them. So yeah, it's not easy, but I understand our staff have been trying to help people manage that better to go local. And we've got something like, I think it's 15% leeway. So when a local applies for a tender, they can be 15%, let's say, over the lowest person, but they still come into the running. So there are things to try and help people get those tenders.